What's up everyone, welcome. We're here in my backyard and today we're going to be talking about reamending pots. Back behind me I've got 6 30-gallon pots of soil that I've been reusing for probably about 5 years or so now. And since we're getting towards the middle end of May, I need to start getting ready for the outdoor grow season. So today I'm going to be reamending my pots. I've bought both Coots mix and BuildASoil's craft blend mix. I can show you both of those. I've also bought some Azomite. I bought some straw mulch from BuildASoil. I've got all these different things and I'm going to show you how I add them into my soil. I'm going to get these 30-gallon pots ready so that I'm good to go and I can have some huge plants growing this summer and into the early fall, and we'll have some great flowers. So let's get into it right now with the pots. All right, so here we are. I've got my 30-gallon pot right here. It's roughly like 24 inches across by 16 inches high. And if you watch our BuildASoil interview where we interviewed Jeremy from BuildASoil, I think it was about a year ago now, I asked him specifically, how do I reamend pots? Like in situations like this. And what he recommended is that in like a no-till situation or whatever, we're not necessarily looking to like dump the whole pot out. We don't need to do that. We just need to reamend the top 6 inches of soil. And then he was recommending that you then can reamend later, like let's say right before flower or something like that. So since I have 6 30-gallon pots, which is like what, 180 gallons of soil, I just don't want to have to deal with the mess of dumping out a bunch of pots like that. So I liked the idea of just reamending the top 6 inches. Now, since we're reusing soil that I've been using, year after year, I need to do some different things. One thing, I need to add in my nutrients and minerals, and that's why I've got things like craft blend right here. I've got some Azomite over there. I also need to add some organic material. And in my case, what I like to add is I like to add some worm castings and I like to add compost. Now, sourcing quality compost is tricky. You don't want to just use the green waste compost that you might be able to get from your municipality. You can get that stuff super cheap, but the thing is that's the stuff from your neighborhood green bins or your compost bins, and who knows what your neighbor or the neighbor down the street, what kind of stuff they spray on their lawn and then they put in the green bin and now that's turned into your compost. So since that's too risky for me, I like to get compost that I know I can trust. In this case, I went to Grocery Outlet, which is a grocery chain of stores, and every time in the spring, they have a bunch of different stuff for cheap that they're trying to unload. And I've noticed that they like to unload stuff from this Dr. Earth brand. And they had these bags of compost. It's roughly like 7 gallons of compost, and they had it on sale for like $8 a piece. So I bought one of these bags for each of my 6-gallon pots, and I'm gonna mix that in. And this is just some nice organic compost where, like I said, I don't have to worry about the green waste thing or what have you. Another thing I like about the Dr. Earth brand is that they also add in some microbes and some beneficial things like microorganisms. So I just really like that they're already kind of pre-populating my compost. So what I did before I turned on the video is I took a shovel and I took out the top 6 inches of soil and I took that into this storage container. This is just a storage container that you can get from Home Depot or whatever. I like to use them for various things. I've got one right here on my left that I'm using as a worm bin. And I've dumped out that soil, that top 6 inches or so of soil, into this bucket. And then I also dumped in this one of the bags of this compost. And I mixed that together here. And then what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to add in my craft blend nutrients, or if I wanted to use Coots mix, I'd use that over here. Okay, real quick, this is Coots mix, or the official Clackamus Coot mix. This is nutrient and mineral kit. It's gonna be very, very similar to the craft blend from BuildASoil. Jeremy's BuildASoil craft blend has some various things that I think, like for the Coots mix, for example, I think it has neem. Jeremy doesn't really like neem anymore, so there's no neem in the craft craft blend. I'm personally not too spooked by neem in my soil, so anyways, I thought I'd try it out and just see if we see a difference this year. But today I'm probably gonna add in some, let's see, Clackamus Coots mix. I'm gonna add in here, and for the size of pot that I have, it's just gonna be, I think it's gonna be just a few cups of Clackamus Coots mix that I'm going to be adding in, and it's actually the same exact measurement for the craft blend. So for this 30-gallon pot, reamending that 6 gallons, or say that 6 inches, that top 6 inches, I just need to add in about 3 cups of one of these mixes if I choose which one. In this case, the Clackamus Coots mix. All right, so I've got my things together here. I grabbed my Clackamus Coots mix, I opened that up, I grabbed some Azomite. I also have a bag of malted barley back here. It comes with the Clackamus Coots mix. He suggests that you blend it up so you get like a coffee blender, blend jet, or whatever you want. You blend up the malted barley and you mix that in. I don't have a blender yet for my weed stuff, and I'm definitely not going to use my coffee blender. So I might not just blend it, and I might just mix it in at the end. But anyways, basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take Azomite. Now Azomite is your minerals. It's made out of, I believe it's volcanic ash out of like Idaho, and which isn't too far from me. I'm in Northern California. And essentially it's gonna add in some minerals back into this soil. It's something that I wanted to try this year since I am reusing this soil over and over again, and I wanna have healthy plants. I wanna make sure that they have the right amount of minerals. So it was pretty easy. The way you reamend Azomite is based on the diameter of your pot. So in this case, I'm going to add, it said a 1/4 cup of Azomite. I'm just gonna add in here. So I'm just gonna take that real quick, gonna measure that out with my little measuring cup here. And then I'm just gonna dump that in the top, and I'll mix that in as I'm mixing in the nutrients. Then as we get into the Clackamus Coots nutrient and mineral kit, like I was saying earlier, it's roughly for 7 to 10 gallons of soil, it's roughly like 2 or 3 cups. So this is 1 cup right here. So I'm just gonna take a couple cups. Also, be careful of the dust on this stuff, especially if you're inside. You might want to wear a respirator or some sort of mask so you're not breathing in all this dust. All right, so I'm gonna add in about 3 cups there. Just add in a little bit on top since I wasn't filling up the cups all the way. And then I'm going to take this soil. Remember, this is the soil that I added in compost in with the soil from the top of this pot. I'm gonna now add this back into this pot and mix this all together. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me do that, but essentially I'm gonna just mix all this stuff up and make sure it's well mixed together and incorporated in with this mix, which again is my soil with compost mixed in. So let's go do it. All right, so now that I've got the soil that I reamended with compost, I've got that back in here. I also added in my nutrients, which was just a few cups of the Coots mineral and nutrient mix. I added a 1/4 cup of the Azomite. So now what I've got is, you can see I took the lid off my worm bin here. So this is just a pro tip. You can get these black containers at Home Depot for like $9, $10, $11, depending on the time of year. And I like to just buy a bunch of them. We use them for all sorts of things. And one of the things I've been using this one for almost a year now is a worm bin. So I've been adding stuff to this since last summer, last fall. I've added a bunch of things over the previous, let's say 3-4 months, and I've just been trying to grow as many worms as I can and as many worm castings as I can. Now, I don't have a big enough worm bin to not use compost entirely, and I can only use vermicompost. I don't have enough worm castings for that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to add some worm castings into each one of my pots as I'm reamending, because what I want to do is I want to add in that microbiology, and I also want to add in the worms as well. I want to have a ton of worms growing in this pot so that they're just kind of breaking down all these nutrients and doing a lot of work for me over the next couple weeks before I get my plants in. And then just in general, you know, as we go into the grow season, I want worms in here doing their thing, breaking down the top dressing and all that sort of stuff. So I've got my worm bin here. I'm just gonna take a couple shovels of this stuff and add it in so that I can get a bunch of worms and I can get the little worm egg batches, all that kind of stuff. Some of this stuff isn't even broken down yet, to be honest with you, but that's okay. I just want to get those worms and microbiology and all that good stuff into this pot. So now that I'm going to add some worms and all that good stuff, I'm going to keep on filling up the rest of this pot with this soil, and then I'm going to water it a little bit, and then we'll get into mulching. All right, so we are almost done here. All we need to do is add in some mulch, and I'm gonna water in and make sure that this pot is nice and wet. One of the issues that you can run into when you're mixing in soil or just in general working with these bigger pots is if this soil wasn't that wet. Now this soil is not totally dry because I did have a pot on top of it that I had watered previously, so that helped kind of keep in some moisture in. But if this was totally dry, it's going to be hydrophobic, and that basically means water is just going to kind of run off the sides. So you will need to kind of wetten up the soil here, have it some nice moisture content. As you can see, it's kind of a darker brown. It's not totally dry. So I kind of had that to my benefit. So I'm gonna still water it down a little bit in just a second. But first I wanted to kind of talk about my mulch situation. So I've used all kinds of different mulches, and one of the problems I've found with straw or like hay type stuff that you can get at maybe Tractor Supply is that there's seeds from that straw or hay or whatever it is, like grass. So I'm not a big fan of that anymore. One thing I'm trying this year is these Coco Core bricks. So you can buy like a case of these for like 30 or 20 or 30 bucks or something like that. And all you have to do is add like a quart of water. This thing will expand and it makes some mulch. I'm also going to be mixing it in with something new this year that I'm trying out, which is this oyster shell mulch. This is a mulch bag that's been inoculated with oyster shell mushrooms. It actually has some growing right there, if you can see that. And I'm going to take some of this mulch and I'm going to mix it in. Now, last warning before I get into that is if you have dogs, your dogs will want to eat the nutrients that you have added in. I've had this issue with my dogs. When I top dress my soil, the dogs will go in and they will try to eat the top dressing. So just something to keep in mind. I'm actually, in this case, since I'm reamending just one of my pots, what I might do is I'm going to put something on top of this so that my dogs can't get into it after this project. So, all right, so let's add in some mulch. I'm going to do that real quick, fast forward through that, and then I think we'll be pretty good to go. All right, so there you have it. I've added in the mulch. What I did there at the end is I just kind of incorporated this straw mulch, the inoculated straw mulch. I kind of incorporated that a little bit with the topsoil a little bit. I just want basically the mushrooms, the mushroom goodness to get in touch with the soil, get in touch with that barley that I added in on top, and just kind of go to town. I really want this to be a nice active soil with a bunch of microorganisms so that it's going to be really giving as much nutrients and everything my plants need as fast as possible. And by having this kind of mycorrhizae network in the soil, I'm essentially creating that like communication network, that transportation network for the nutrients. I'm creating that for the plant so that when the plant plunks in, it can just tap right into that network. So that's about it. That's how you reamend a pot. I hope that this has been useful. I hope this helps you kind of visualize how you can do it for you. Again, I've been reusing the same soil for the last 5-6 years. I've been using Soil Kings mix. I love Soil Kings Big Roots soil, super nice. So I just reamend that every year and reuse it. So, you know, I bought 200 gallons of soil or whatever it was 5-6 years ago, and now I'm just reusing it year after year by buying these mineral kits. So something to think about. You don't have to throw out your soil. You can just reamend it and reuse it year after year and grow really great plants that deliver some really great results. So good luck, guys. Stay tuned for more videos like this one. Let me know what you think. Smash the like button, leave a comment below, and make sure you subscribe here on Cannabuzz. We have episodes all the time where we're interviewing great growers, people in the cannabis industry. We'd love to stay in touch with you. So please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.